What's up, guys, and welcome to an all-new episode of the King's Corner, where today we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is like the 31st MCU film, 32nd MCU film. Regardless, there's a lot of MCU movies at this point. And we are officially in Phase 5, which was kicked off by Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. This is the finale of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And look, this has been getting a lot of great reviews, and I was able to see the film last Saturday night. I just didn't have the opportunity to do the video until now. So no spoilers. I will not be spoiling anything if you haven't seen it already, but what I will say in a completely non-spoiler fashion is that this is one of the best MCU movies. This is probably like a top 10 comic book film of all time, superhero film of all time. The depth that James Gunn, you know, goes to in this movie is something special. His direction for this movie is probably the best direction he's done so far for a feature film, and his screenplay as well. I mean, all of these characters are so well realized, and he's finally able to give them their proper send-off. I think that this is one of the best MCU trilogies for sure, and it's certainly might just be the best third film in an MCU film aside from Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie has such a purpose, such a gravitas to it. And what is the story without giving away any spoilers? Well, we were on a mission to save the galaxy, to save a certain raccoon, Rocket Raccoon. This movie is the story of how Rocket Raccoon came to be, and it is a tragic story. It is a heartbreaking story, and you totally get it by the time we meet him in the first movie. Why he's acting and talking just the way he is fully realized in these beautiful scenes of backflashes that we get to see his past and what he went through, which leads us to the villain of the movie, the High Evolutionary, played by Chudwookie Iwuji. Forgive me if I mispronounce that, but he is this guy who basically is a form of God. I mean, he will create civilizations to try to make the best beings that he can. There's a lot of planets and civilizations and people that are made from this guy, the High Evolutionary, Rocket Raccoon being one of them. And so when you watch the film and you see this story unfold in the present and in the past, I mean, you are completely invested, and it does the humor work. I know in a lot of the Guardians films, the past Guardians films, Guardians 2 especially, there's a lot of humor cooked into that movie. This, I think, is the best balance of humor we've had with humor and just raw emotion. I think this is the best balance that there's been in the Guardians films so far. This movie is powerful. It is really emotional, and all the performances are fantastic. Chris Pratt is giving one of his best performances in this film. I think certainly his best performance as Star-Lord. I mean, he was incredible in this movie. Zoe Saldana plays a very different version of Gamora. If you know what happened to her in the past Avengers films, you'll know, okay, well, this is going to certainly be a very different version. And, she just brings some different kind of depth to it, which I really appreciated. But all these other characters get to shine. I mean, Nebula is truly realized in this film. Drax is not just there for the jokes anymore. He gets into the action, he gets dirty with it, and serves a purpose by the end of the film. I think Groot plays very much like a Chewbacca type role in this, and I think that's the role that this version of the character was meant to play. So I thought he really worked as the sidekick to Star-Lord mainly. Um, and then you have Mantis, who, we learn more about her in the Guardians Holiday Special. So seeing that, and that emotion sort of coming into this, she's great. Pom Klementieff is incredible as this character. All of these actors were perfectly cast, and Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper steals the show as Rocket Raccoon. He is so good in this movie, and his voice performance, when he has to be funny, when he has to be serious. I mean, from the screenplay from James Gunn, he's really given a lot to do and a lot of meat to bite into. And as an audience member, there's a lot to bite into, and I really appreciated that. The score is from a different composer. I believe Tyler Bates did the first two films. This one's by a different composer. So the original Guardians theme, you only hear it in the movie maybe once, so that was kind of disappointing to me. I think the score is probably the weakest of the MCU Guardians films. It's not a very memorable score. The only memorable part is some of the High Evolutionaries themes and the theme that's written by Tyler Bates. So other than that, the soundtrack I think is potentially the best soundtrack of any of the Guardians films. I think that the songs are so beautifully placed in this. I mean, it's really incredible what James Gunn was able to pull off with this last movie. You can tell he had a vision, and man, did he pull it off. I mean, this is a beautiful film, so entertaining. I will watch this movie again and again, and this is my favorite Guardians movie, and it's one of my favorite MCU films. I mean, it's just such a great story, such a great movie, and the action is so entertaining, and the way it's shot. I mean, it's so energetically shot. The visual effects are some of the best effects I've ever seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, certain things we do in the film, we go visit this planet where we meet the girl who plays the Ratcatcher 2 from from the Suicide Squad movie that James Gunn did, and she has a little side role in this. I thought she was great. She was a standout. She's not in it for very long, but she was a standout. Nathan Fillion, that's all on the same planet. He was very good. And let's talk about the other new characters, Adam Warlock and Cosmo, and particularly Cosmo and Kraglin. You're thinking, well, what does Kraglin have to do in this movie? Not a lot, but he's there to serve a purpose, and he's there to learn something. And I thought, especially towards the end of the movie, that there's something that happens with the Kraglin character that I thought was just totally heartwarming and satisfying. This whole movie was satisfying. But there's something that goes back and forth between him and Cosmo, which I thought was just really sweet. And by the end of the film, you just feel so, I don't know, it leaves you with such a good feeling. I mean, overall, this movie. I mean, you would say from the trailers that this is going to be a dark, dark film. And it is. It has some of the darkest moments that you'll see in the MCU. There's a moment in the middle of this movie that, I mean, I was almost in tears. I mean, the way it's shot and the way James Gunn just does this scene, you'll know it when you see it. I mean, it's heart-wrenching. But overall, I mean, the film, it leaves you on like, wow, I really feel good about where we left off with all these characters. It'll be exciting to see a new version of the Guardians continue. I mean, it does so many things right. And the Cosmo character, voiced by Maria Bakalova, who is the Oscar-nominated actress from the Borat sequel. She was also on Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. She did a great job as Cosmo. Not a big role, but served her purpose well, and I thought that was very good. And the Adam Warlock character. Won't get into spoilers about him, but will I say I liked his character? I loved his character. This is like something that people are going to watch, like the Ant-Man Quantumania film, and see the MODOK, and they're going to say either they liked it or they hated it, and they're going to be split on it. I'm not sure if people are going to be as split on Warlock, but it makes total sense of why he's acting the way he's acting. And by the time the movie ended and you reflect on it, you say, I really liked that character, loved that character actually, and Will Poulter is fantastic as him. Um, So, is there negatives with this movie? I mean, is it the longest Guardians movie? Yeah, it's almost like 2.5 hours long. It's one of the longest MCU films. But every scene is just either so entertaining because of its action, because of the dialogue we're hearing. I mean, this James Gunn did it. He did it. And there's two credit scenes. The second one leaves me very intrigued, for sure. And the first one leaves me very intrigued and excited to see what's going to happen next. I can't wait to see a future iteration of whatever is going to come in future films. This is the stuff that really works for me. So I can't wait to see how it continues. And look, there's really nothing that I'm going to say I didn't like about this movie. I loved this movie. Maybe on a rewatch, I'll find a flaw, but I mean, as of right now, seeing it almost a week ago and doing this video, I mean, I'm pretty confidently saying that I think this is a 5 out of 5 movie. I mean, it is really powerful and just really well done. I mean, props to everybody, including James Gunn, the guy who started it and now ended it and did the whole trilogy. So this is certainly one of the best film trilogies that I've seen, and honestly, it might be the best MCU trilogy there is. So that's where I'm at with Guardians Volume 3. Guys, comment down below. What did you think about it? Did you see it? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I saw this at a drive-in theater. That's right. This past Saturday when we went to see it, it was at the local drive-in theater that we have. And, now that we've got the newborn, it's easier to take him to the drive-in movie, and it's a lot more private of an experience. And the picture was great, the sound was great, everything's digital now. When I used to go as a kid, it was all different, and it was actual film projection. So now that they're doing it this way, I mean, it's a really nice, satisfying experience. So you could go and just have a really nice time with your family and friends, as I did. So that's it for me. You can follow me on Twitter, RyanKing72, and Instagram and TikTok at KingArises131. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the King's Corner, my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And until next time, over and out.